Alright, so the purpose of this video is to teach you guys how to annotate on Discovery Education. There are three basic steps. First, you're going to choose one color to highlight the main idea. I'm typically going to pick yellow. Then all the supporting details you're going to highlight in a different color. And the last thing you guys are going to need to do is add comments for questions you have or connections you make. Let me show you what I mean. This is three paragraphs about World War II, a concept no one is going to cover. So paragraph number 1, right here, says the leaders of the three main Allied nations started to devise a strategy on how to win the war. These leaders included the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Winston Churchill, the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the Premier of the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin. People often refer to these leaders as the Big Three. Now, right now, I know the main idea is the leaders, and I'm going to highlight it in yellow. The Allied nations wanted to devise a strategy to win the war. Boom. Main idea, yellow. All right, supporting details. These leaders include, well, that's kind of important. It's a supporting detail. I'm going to choose a different color. So these leaders, I'm going to pick blue, were Winston Churchill, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Joseph Stalin. All right, paragraph number 2. Even though the Japanese attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt of the United States believed that the American armies should focus on winning the war in Europe first. He believed that the United States did not have enough manpower and weapons to fight aggressively on two fronts right away. By the time the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 1941, the Germans and their allies had advanced hundreds of miles into the Soviet Union. They had surrounded the important Soviet city of Leningrad, were closing in on the capital Moscow, and had captured over 1.5 million Soviet soldiers. All right, so the main idea in that paragraph is the United States. So it's the main idea, so I'm going yellow. Focus on winning the war in Europe first. Supporting details. The Germans advanced hundreds of miles into the Soviet Union. And I'm going to add a question. So I'm going to take notes. I'm going to title it question. How did the Germans do this? All right, and now my question is saved. And you can see it right there. All right, third paragraph. Not surprisingly, Stalin wanted U.S. forces to provide immediate relief to the Soviets. However, it would have been extremely difficult to move U.S. troops and arms directly to the war's eastern front. Instead, Stalin thought American and British troops should attack German forces from the west. This would pressure the Germans into moving many of its eastern forces away from Western Europe. All right, so main idea in this one, American and Britain troops should attack German forces from the west. Highlight it, my main idea is yellow. Supporting extremely difficult to move U.S. troops and arms directly to the war's eastern front. So that's a supporting detail. They switched it up on us. So the only thing we're missing is a connection. So a connection. I don't have a hard time thinking of a connection. All right, I paused it, so I came up with a connection. A connection could be when I get into a fight with someone, it makes it better to have allies. All right, so that's basically how you annotate on Discovery Education.